I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I ain't got a choice. I I gotta do it. I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't. You understand, right? Like I'm sorry, boy. I'm so sorry.
There is no way I am the Evelyn you are looking for. Every rejection, every disappointment has led you here. To this moment. Don't let anything distract you from it.
Today we have everything, everywhere, all at once. So, you didn't hear about this film? I don't blame you. But this came across my feed and the feed of other film people online that I follow and all that. Another bless you A24 for helping to produce and bring us these marvelous, obscure, and just varied feats of cinema. This technically had like a release in certain places, I'm sure like film festivals or certain art house theaters last month, so technically you can consider it a March release, but it's just now getting its wide like national and maybe international release April this month. So it's out now that it's officially out in theaters that are actually near me. I can go see it, and boy howdy, there is and there isn't a lot to unpack here. I'll try to make it concise and just give you I'll give you the rundown. So Everything Everywhere All at Once is directed by two people, and I always like these co-directorial endeavors. More times than not, it's because the co-directors are like people that work together on projects, kind of like the Russo brothers, kind of like the Wachowskis, a similar vein of that. We have Daniel Kwan, that there he is, and we have Daniel Scheinert, either way. Those two brochachos over here. Funny enough, I actually had more experience with their filmography than I thought. So this is kind of like, I guess you can call it, I don't know if it's their biggest film yet, I guess because A24 is attached to it, it definitely is. Before this, I actually saw their previous like directorial debut, Swiss Army Man, which I did a cinema chat with the franchise on my channel probably sometime last year. Also a very weird but like deeply layered emotional film with Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano, two very well-known names, especially after the Batman. But I really enjoyed it, and so I kind of have an idea of these directors and kind of what they're capable of doing. Aside from that, their filmography kind of showed director credits on just a lot of music videos and short films. This is now their biggest release. I want to say, fucking standing ovation. I'm giving you an ovation. There you go. Encore more. What a feat in cinema. Like, holy shit. Bravo, 1,000 times bravo. The whole cast is great, but there are two big shout outs, technically three, but two huge shout outs I want to give. These names, you might not recognize the names, but holy shit, we recognize who they've been in the past. We have the leading lady of this film. Oh my god, what a performance. Michelle Yao, I believe I hope I'm saying her name correctly. Here she is. Oh my god. Captivated in so many different ways. You might be like, oh, her face looks familiar. What has she been in? Oh, a couple little films. Recent years, Crazy Rich Asian. She was one of the leading ladies in that. What else has she been in, you might ask? I don't know. Just fucking Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, maybe? Like, holy shit, I didn't realize. I feel like such a fool. The other big shout out I want to give, which is arguably the second lead. I mean, I guess it's like, I would say three leads. There's a core cast and then there's a lot of ancillary characters, but I would say that like the three for sure. Second guy, hopefully I'm saying his name correctly, Ke Huy Quan, or Ke Huy Quan, something of that nature. Hopefully I'm not fucking it up too much. Again, oh my god, great. Like, both these performances are all over the spectrum of these emotionally powerful moments, these moments that are played for comedy and hilarity, the drama, awkwardness, weakness, strength, like across the spectrum. And I didn't recognize him. Dude, what else has he been in? Oh, I don't know. Maybe he was just fucking Short Round from Temple of Doom. Like, what? Not only that, he was Data in Goonies. Like, oh my god. This guy is still going strong. He's still a killer actor. I love it. And he still brings that same energy on screen. They both do, honestly. I also want to give a shout out to the woman who plays the daughter, Stephanie Sue. Or who? Sue? I'm assuming it's Sue. She's great as well. Now, I bet you're wondering about all this crazy getup. Well, let me tell you one thing. You watch this movie, this is the most normal thing you will have seen all day. Like, this is just kind of par for the course of this movie. I knew going into this film that I was probably going to like it. I was actually wrong. I was mistaken. I was very, very wrong. I absolutely perhaps not, adored this film. I adore everything about this film. This film, in those nights and days where I'm here, just a warning, I'm about to start waxing philosophical and get very poetic and romanticize cinema and all that, as I am wont to do. But this film is what is like the light at the end of the tunnel for me. The days where it's the lowest, the darkest, where I feel the worst, where death seems like the only possible escape from this existence. Movies like this come along, and holy shit, did this give me life, the best of ways. I adore this film. I love this film. Just going into it, I'm already going to tell you, I have no complaints. Like, I have no complaints about this film. This film is doing what I thought No Way Home was going to do. It's going to do what I was thinking Multiverse of Madness is going to do. When I go see Doctor Strange next month, I think it's going to pale in comparison to the enormously creative endeavor that has been accomplished with Everything Everywhere All at Once. Where to start? I said no complaints already. I already said enormously creative. That's true. This is one of the single-handedly, and I know I still have a lot of movies to watch in my life, and I've seen a lot of great creative movies. This might be one of the single-handedly most creative films I've ever seen, in just terms of like story, how it's incorporated, even though there's some familiar threads here and there. It's the story and narrative are reimagined for this film beautifully. The multiverse concept, I'm a fan of the multiverse. Whenever I get all sci-fi and geeky, I'll talk about it. I like to believe that the multiverse exists, and there's some credulity to the theory of a multiverse. So I love it whenever film, television, media, books, people talk about it, bring it to light, or adapt it. I think it's handled in a stellar way, and in one of the most creative respects in this film for sure. Oh my god, like it's like creative and crazy and yet controlled and yet chaotic. It is a visually striking, visually stunning, emotionally and mentally provocative film. Because you look at this and you think, on the outside, you look at me, right? You see this whole getup and you're like, his shirt's backwards, he's, what the fucking tie, the hat's suspended, like, I look silly as shit right now. I wouldn't be out in public looking like this, probably. But on the outside, it looks weird. So like when you're watching it, if you give this film a cursory glance, or like you show someone a certain scene out of context, your first thought would be like, that looks very silly, it looks kind of stupid. But what I love is that no matter how wild and crazy this film gets, and believe me, this film gets bonkers bananas crazy, it is still miraculously grounded in our reality, in our emotions, in the drama of this family and their story and her story and the grand scheme of the story of the film. It's all as crazy as it gets and as weird as you can still, I would argue this, you still follow it. That's the craziest thing. As long as you have like even a relatively open mind, but you could be the most like closed-minded person, and I think you would still be able to at least follow what the hell happens in this in this film. Like I already touched on, the acting and the talent in this film, holy shit, everybody's cast perfectly. I buy all of it. All these characters are portrayed very well, and then when it comes into play that there's duality to these characters, or multiple facets of emotions and drives and motivations for these characters, again, it's all handled and portrayed well. this is one of the most severe cases of emotional whiplash I've experienced in a film. I went from laughing my fucking ass off at some of the most hilarious content a film has shown me to crying and getting misty-eyed at this at the most like emotionally provocative and like connecting moments. Like we walked out of it. One of my friends was like, I shouldn't have connected with that film as much as I did. What was the word she used? This film is mommy trauma. God, I like the multiverse. There's so many different branching directions of conversation we can go into when discussing this film. It's tastefully R-rated. I thought it was going to be more violent, and believe me, there's like violence, there's blood, and I mean, there's plenty of profanity, even some sexual content like here and there, but it wasn't as like violent or as grotesque as I thought it would be. It was just creative, but at the same time, enough stuff happens in this film where I guess you would then be able to give it like an R. All the violence, all the insanity, all the ludity, it all serves a purpose, a greater purpose for the narrative. There's few things that I'll do if I'm like really enjoying a movie. For one, like I'll usually have a big shit-eating grin across my face, and I felt myself smiling throughout so much of this film, laughing even when others in the theater weren't laughing. Though believe me, a lot of the theater was losing their mind at this film. You will lose your mind in a good way. You'll lose your damn mind, and nobody gonna help you find it. I'm just sitting there, I'm like touching my face and all this, and just kind of like almost clutching my pearls, like how much I loved this film. It connects with me not only in terms of like what's funny, what's great action, how well it's shot, choreographed, acted, the visually speaking, but just all these concepts that I hold to be true in my head and my heart about the world and the universe that I live in. What keeps me up at night, what keeps me going, but what also is holding me back, all the concerns that I have, the ultimate big questions of like, what's the damn point of it all, like the existence and meaning and all these things that like get me down in life, and they're addressed and discussed and even like, I don't want to say solved, but like I felt strangely better after this film. It's kind of like in Soul, right? Like Soul's a Pixar film that because of the pandemic a lot of people slept on. There was a scene toward the end that lasts like a minute or two long that made me not want to like unalive myself for a few minutes. It was like a really good moment that reminds you to enjoy the little things in life and all this. This film did that in like tenfold. Like this could easily be my new comfort movie. Like this film is like, yeah, we're going to look at all this, lay it bare, acknowledge the insanity that is existence, our world, and the universe, and then just tell you that both nothing matters and yet everything matters. And like, oh my god, watch this movie. I think you already know what's coming. I mean, Jesus, everything, everywhere, all at once. Here's the thing. I love the Batman. I've seen the Batman 4 times in theaters. That's 12 hours of my life devoted to the Batman. I love it. I think at first it was my favorite film of the year, but I gotta say, this one has probably taken the crown right there. If we had a top 10 list, I mean, I'm pretty sure this would be number 1. I'm pretty sure followed very closely by The Batman. The Batman is a near perfect film, but for its own reasons, but I can't be a hypocrite. This film, in my mind, is perfect. And maybe I'm biased because I like this kind of jazz, but like the critics seem to agree overall. I think everybody that I went with loved it. Nobody had really any negative things to say, no nitpicks or anything like that. Like, we all really enjoyed ourselves. I was worried that it was going to be too weird because I like weird. No, they were all fans of the weird as well. So for that reason, I'm pretty sure you already guessed it, like I said, but I would give Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, released in 2022, the most solid 5 out of fucking 5 that I can give it. There's very few films so far that I reserve a perfect rating for. I believe I gave it to 1917. I believe I gave it to Pig. I'm giving it to Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I don't know how I feel about a high 5 out of 5. I mean, it just kind of seems superfluous at that point. But this, in my mind, for what I like and what I believe as a film it has accomplished, is perfect. I'm sure if I watched it again, maybe I could find some plot holes. Maybe if I dug deeper, I could find some nitpicks. If you personally don't like the certain types of humor implemented throughout the film, if you're not a fan of sci-fi or of multiversal theory and like questioning life while also mixing with a family drama, then maybe this movie isn't for you. But I think your average moviegoer would still get enjoyment out of this. And if you're like me, you'll absolutely, absolutely love this. Please, please support this film. See it in theaters. It is a incredible experience. I believe you will love it. I want to advocate for it, spread awareness about it, and tell you that Everything Everywhere All at Once is so far my favorite film of the year. I didn't think it was going to be, but here we are. So that's all I got to say about that film. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching, and as always, stay tuned for the next episode of whatever movie I choose to review. I got nothing else. Thank you. Good. Make it weird. Goodbye, travelers. Or something else. I don't know.